What if the person standing between Jungkook and Taehyung was never a stranger at all? What if the mysterious figure who suddenly became the center of intense fan speculation was connected to a secret that had been hidden in plain sight for years? And what if Jungkook has finally decided to explain everything? Before we reveal the shocking twist behind the story, tell us in the comments, who do you think the mysterious figure really is? And what do you think happened between Jungkook and Taehyung? If you enjoy emotional BTS stories, unexpected revelations, and dramatic fan theories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because the final revelation may completely change the way you see this entire story. There was a moment when everything seemed normal. Jungkook and Taehyung had appeared together before. They had laughed together, shared quiet moments, exchanged looks that fans immediately noticed, and created the kind of friendship that had been followed by millions of people around the world for years. To many fans, their connection seemed familiar, comfortable, and almost impossible to explain with simple words. But then, something changed. It was not one dramatic argument. It was not a public announcement. It was not a single moment that could easily be replayed and analyzed. Instead, it was a series of small details. A pause that lasted a little too long. A conversation that suddenly ended when someone else entered the room. A glance between Jungkook and Taehyung that seemed to carry a meaning only they understood. And then came the mysterious figure. At first, almost nobody paid attention. The person appeared only briefly in the background of a fictional scene surrounding the two BTS members. There was no clear explanation, no direct introduction, and no obvious reason for this person to become important. But sometimes, the smallest detail can create the biggest question. Who was this person? Why did Jungkook seem uncomfortable whenever the subject was mentioned? Why did Taehyung suddenly become quiet? And why did Jungkook eventually decide that he could no longer remain silent? The story began with a conversation that was never supposed to become a mystery. According to the fictional narrative that sent fans into an emotional frenzy, Jungkook had been spending an unusually quiet evening. The atmosphere around him was different from normal. He was not joking. He was not playing around. He was not distracted by his phone or surrounded by the usual noise. He was simply sitting alone. In front of him was a message that had been left unanswered for several hours. The message came from Taehyung. It contained only a few words. "We need to talk." For most people, those words might have seemed ordinary. But Jungkook knew Taehyung well enough to understand that the message was not ordinary at all. Taehyung was not the kind of person who sent words like that without a reason. Jungkook stared at the screen. For several seconds he did nothing. Then another message appeared. About him. That was the moment Jungkook reportedly stopped breathing for a second. About him. The words were vague. They were incomplete. They did not identify anyone. But Jungkook knew exactly what Taehyung meant. The mysterious figure. The person whose name had never been openly discussed. The person who had somehow become connected to a distance that fans had begun noticing between Jungkook and Taehyung. The person who, according to the fictional storyline, had been present during a moment that neither of them had ever truly explained. Jungkook finally replied. "Why are you bringing this up now?" Taehyung did not answer immediately. The silence lasted long enough to make Jungkook uneasy. Then the reply appeared. "Because you keep pretending nothing happened." That sentence changed everything. For years, Jungkook had allegedly believed that silence was the safest choice. He had convinced himself that some things were better left unexplained. He believed that if he did not talk about the past would eventually disappear. But Taehyung had never forgotten. And perhaps that was the real reason the two of them had begun acting differently. The mystery was not necessarily about a romantic secret. It was not necessarily about betrayal. It was not necessarily about another person trying to come between them. The truth, according to the fictional storyline, was far more complicated. The mysterious figure had entered their lives during a period when both Jungkook and Taehyung were dealing with pressures that nobody outside their private world could fully understand. They were surrounded by expectations. Every movement could be observed. Every expression could be interpreted. Every interaction could become a topic of discussion. In that kind of environment, trust became more complicated. Jungkook and Taehyung had always shared a connection that seemed effortless. But even the closest friendships could be tested by fear, misunderstanding, and silence. And then, one day, someone new appeared. The person was not introduced dramatically. There was no obvious warning. The figure simply became part of the environment around them. At first, Jungkook did not think much of it. Taehyung, however, seemed to notice. The first time Taehyung saw Jungkook speaking privately with the mysterious figure, his reaction was almost impossible to read. He did not interrupt. He did not ask questions. He did not show anger. He simply watched. Then he walked away. Jungkook noticed. But instead of following him, he remained where he was. That decision would later become one of the biggest sources of regret in the entire story. Because Taehyung had been waiting for Jungkook to follow him. And Jungkook had been waiting for Taehyung to ask him what was happening. Neither of them did. That was how the distance began. Not with hatred. Not with betrayal. But with two people waiting for the other person to speak first. The mysterious figure became a symbol of everything they refused to say. Whenever the person appeared, Taehyung became quieter. Whenever the name was mentioned, Jungkook seemed to change the subject. Whenever someone asked about the situation, both of them appeared to retreat behind carefully chosen words. Fans began to notice. Of course they did. Fans noticed the way Jungkook sometimes looked toward Taehyung before answering a question. Fans noticed the way Taehyung occasionally seemed to be listening even when he was not part of the conversation. Fans noticed the moments when both of them appeared to understand something without speaking. And then the theories began. Some believed the mysterious figure was a friend. Others believed the person had been involved in a misunderstanding. Some believed the figure had caused a conflict between Jungkook and Taehyung. Others believed the entire story was simply an exaggeration created by people searching for meaning in ordinary moments. But there was one question that continued to return. If the mysterious person was truly unimportant, why did Jungkook seem so uncomfortable whenever the subject came up? That question became impossible to ignore. Years later, in the fictional narrative, Jungkook finally decided to answer. It happened during a private conversation with Taehyung. The room was quiet. No cameras were recording. No audience was waiting. No one was demanding an explanation. For the first time, they were alone with the truth. Taehyung sat across from Jungkook. His expression was calm, but his eyes revealed something else. "You knew I was going to ask you," Taehyung said. Jungkook looked down. "Yes." "Then why did you wait?" Jungkook took a deep breath. "Because I was afraid." Taehyung did not respond. Jungkook continued. "Not afraid of you. Afraid of what would happen after I told you." That answer immediately changed the atmosphere. Taehyung had expected denial. He had expected Jungkook to say that nothing had happened. He had expected the same silence they had shared for years. But Jungkook was no longer trying to escape the conversation. "The person you saw me with," Jungkook said, "was never what you thought." Taehyung looked at him. "Then what was it?" Jungkook remained silent for a moment. Then he said something that Taehyung had never expected to hear. "I was asking for help." The words seemed to stop the entire room. Help. That was the first major twist. The mysterious figure had not been someone Jungkook was secretly choosing over Taehyung. The person had not been part of a hidden relationship, or a secret alliance designed to separate them. The figure had been connected to a difficult situation Jungkook had been facing privately. A problem he had not known how to explain. A problem that had made him feel isolated. And because Jungkook did not know how to talk about it, he allowed Taehyung to misunderstand. That was the mistake. The tragedy was not that Taehyung had been replaced. The tragedy was that Jungkook had never told him that he was struggling. Taehyung looked away. "So all this time," he said quietly, "you knew what I thought?" Jungkook nodded. "Yes." "And you said nothing?" "I thought you would understand eventually." Taehyung let out a small laugh, but there was no happiness in it. "That was your mistake." Jungkook lowered his head. "I know." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Taehyung asked the question that had been waiting for years. "Why didn't you just tell me?" Jungkook looked at him. "Because you were already dealing with so much. I didn't want to become another problem." Taehyung's expression changed. "Do you really think you were a problem to me?" Jungkook did not answer. That silence said more than words could have. The truth was that Jungkook had been afraid of becoming a burden. Taehyung, meanwhile, had been afraid of becoming unimportant. Two fears had collided. And the mysterious figure had been caught in the middle of a misunderstanding that neither of them knew how to resolve. But the story did not end there. Because Taehyung still had another question. "If you were only asking for help," he said, "why did you hide it from everyone?" Jungkook looked toward the window. "Because the person knew something about me." Taehyung waited. Jungkook continued. "Something I didn't want anyone else to know." The atmosphere changed again. This was the moment that created the biggest mystery. What did the mysterious figure know? Why was Jungkook so afraid of the truth being revealed? And why had Taehyung never been told? The answer, according to the fictional story, was not a scandal. It was something far more emotional. The mysterious figure had known about a moment when Jungkook had nearly given up on something important. Not on life. Not on his dreams. But on himself. There had been a period when Jungkook had questioned whether he was strong enough to continue carrying the expectations placed on him. He had smiled in public. He had performed. He had laughed. But privately, he had felt exhausted. The mysterious figure had been one of the few people who had seen him during that vulnerable moment. Jungkook had asked for advice. He had asked for privacy. And he had asked the person not to tell anyone. Especially Taehyung. Not because he did not trust Taehyung, but because he trusted Taehyung too much. That was the painful irony. Jungkook knew that if Taehyung discovered how much he had been struggling, Taehyung would immediately try to help. And Jungkook did not want to be saved. He wanted to appear strong. He wanted to believe that he could handle everything alone. But Taehyung interpreted the secrecy differently. He believed Jungkook had found someone else to trust. And that belief slowly created a wall. A wall either of them knew how to break. "Do you know what I thought?" Taehyung asked. Jungkook remained silent. "I thought you didn't need me anymore." Jungkook looked at him immediately. "That's not true." "But that's what it felt like." Those words hit Jungkook harder than anything else. Because he realized that while he had been trying to protect Taehyung from his problems, he had accidentally made Taehyung feel rejected. The person he had been trying not to burden had begun to believe he was no longer important. That was the real secret. The mysterious figure had not come between them. Silence had. Fear had. Misunderstanding had. And the inability to say, "I need you," had created more damage than any third person ever could. But then came the second major twist. Jungkook revealed that Taehyung had actually met the mysterious figure before. Taehyung froze. "What? You've met him?" Taehyung stared at Jungkook. "When?" Jungkook hesitated. "Before everything became complicated." Taehyung tried to remember. There had been countless people around them over the years. Friends, staff, colleagues, acquaintances, professionals, and strangers who briefly appeared in their lives. But then Jungkook mentioned a specific moment. A moment Taehyung had completely forgotten. The mysterious figure had been there. Not in the way fans imagined. Not secretly hiding. Not plotting anything. The person had simply been standing nearby while Jungkook and Taehyung were together. Taehyung had even spoken to the person. He had smiled. He had said hello. And then he had moved on. The shocking truth was that the mysterious figure had never been a stranger. The figure had been part of their shared world. Taehyung had simply never realized how important that person had become to Jungkook during one difficult period.